Well, I very much appreciate the honor of your attention. Being listened is a precious treasure nowadays, so I feel grateful for this. And I hope you enjoy my contribution just as I did with yours. And I will leave a question there drift in the air as I tell you what my work is about. I'm a psychospiritual healer, and today I will share with you a perceptual widening model that enables us to access information beyond ordinary analytical processing. One that I believe that could be potentially applied on other fields as well. Given that our conscious processing system is slow and energetically expensive, almost all the information we consciously process is shaped by unconscious criteria. The perceptual process includes filtering the information that gains access to consciousness according to these unconscious priorities we didn't choose. So we end up looking at reality through a keyhole we didn't choose. Okay. Perceptual restrictions does not only affect our interpretations only. Psychologically, it rigidifies meaning and sustains emotional suffering. In the body, it appears as chronic tension, inflammation, and discomfort. And it may also shape how we relate to others, to society, and even environment itself. So the problem is not necessarily that the information we perceive is wrong, but that we assume it is complete. And when we base our treatment on that assumption, the results may be often insufficient. Both traditional knowledge and scientific approaches remark that perceiving isolation is a dysfunctional response. I believe that perceiving ourselves disconnected from everything else, from others, and even from our own depth, leads to suffering. Therefore, a more integrated perceptual experience might lead to promote health. Dynamic integration is a structured way of expanding perception, which took me more than 20 years to systematize into a safe and clinically applicable method for personal development and therapeutic purposes. The perceptual expansion model is based on consciously modifying the filtering criteria for accessing an expanded state of consciousness. Then, people report from their subjective experience, perceiving as an integrated underlying layer of reality. My own experience suggests that we access what feels like an interconnected, dynamic field full of information, sense, and coherence. In expanded state of consciousness, our perception reaches a level in which cognitive, emotional, bodily, and relational dimensions are no longer perceived as separate processes, but as expressions of a deeper, integrated, net-layered organization, often manifested through symbolic forms. It's like, well, it's hard to describe, but it's like dreams, but you can consciously interact with it. It's like plastic. Okay. In dynamic integration therapy, practitioners in expanded state of consciousness trace the origin of the symptom underlying organization and accompany patients to willingly modify it. When they accomplish it at that level, the system appears to reorganize itself accordingly in every level, bio, psycho, social, and spiritual. Consequently, patients shift from experiencing themselves as helpless victims of a traumatic experience to becoming wiser and more integrated through it. I don't attempt to define the nature of the reality accessed through expanded state of consciousness. It would be too much. It might be, I don't know, the Platonic world of ideas, an intrapsychic archetypical field. It might be the quantum field. I don't know. Even though I tend to understand these levels as spiritual, the only certainty I can share with you today is its clinical effectiveness. I have found that accompanying patients in resolving symptoms at that level of experience allows for more precise interventions, shorter treatments, and more stable outcomes. Our follow-up suggested that this level of intervention reduced the average treatment span from 25 to only 3.5 sessions, and most of the cases are resolved in only one session. This is why I say that perception itself might become a clinical skill. So the second question of the day is, how do we widen perception? For now, I can say that our filtering criteria are shaped by biological, psychological, and cultural inputs that can be consciously modified. We all do, actually. If I tell you, now don't listen to me, listen to the outside noise, we can all do it, okay? So in this approach, we train the capacity to shift one's state of consciousness, access information not available through ordinary analytical processing, and apply this skill therapeutically through a structured 2-year training program. I have summarized a lot our perceptual expansion process in a 5-step model. Let us check it. Step 1, reorganizing the perceptual conditioning, because we are settled to perceive what we are expecting to. And I believe it is not enough, or many times at least. So there are 3 keys that are essential for a successful expansion of consciousness. First is training our attentional focus, which is our primary tool. Okay? Then we direct our attention to reshape our physical body sensations or the perception of ourselves bodily. The second key is moving beyond habitual interpretative frameworks, and this is done by a guided observation of internal bodily sensations. People gather every tiny internal sensation from toes to head every day, every time they can. This prevents from drifting into imagination or rationalization, while supporting the direct phenomenological register of experience we need. From there, we can move on. So step 2, expanding perceptual field. So participants progressively redefine their perceptual boundaries by refining sensitivity just beyond the skin surface. Internal sensibility that they developed now extends outwards, just 1 millimeter at a time, slowly. So soon participants begin to perceive another person's hands behind the back and the continuity flowing internally inside ourselves, through the space, and inside others. Then I was saying that the experience of self becomes increasingly expansive. And step 3, there we are. Developing perceptual diagnosis. At this stage, the perceptual frame continues to broaden. Studies tend to perceive fluctuation and what I call accidents in the biofield within and around the body, and facilitate its circulation. Symptoms are no longer approached as isolated problems, but as expressions of an underlying organization, yet not fully perceived. Step 4, reorganizing perceptual experience. As training progresses, additional perceptual channels begin to emerge. Subtle forms of perceptions resembling extended vision, intuition, and other sensory-like experiences. Studies report accessing images, emotions, sensations, thoughts, and instantaneous knowledge of information that the patient didn't reveal and often ignores. They begin to perceive the unified underlying organizational field, learning to willingly widen and narrow their perceptual filters by a simple decision. Step 5, a big one, clinical training and application. Within the interconnected layer network access through expanded state of consciousness, participants gradually learn to attune the underlying organization of the patient's conflict. Attuning in this context is the final expression we teach for therapeutic purposes. It refers to a capacity of training specific information by directing attention towards a target. We need to train for this. It requires practice, as anything else in life, I suppose. So, they perceive like a net connecting emotions, body responses, memories, relational patterns, and unsolved trauma into a single coherent system. However, understanding and overall organizing the tidal wave of information is the most demanding part of the training. We will see some cases so you understand what I am talking about. The origin of conflict we attune is sometimes clearly traceable in the patient's personal history, while in other cases is more symbolic or not verifiable. But how the emerging material is interpreted is not the point here, as is mere awareness of the conflict organization. The clinical differential seems to lie in the possibility of reorganization from within. Yeah? Patients need to regain the capacity to give themselves what was missing at the time. This shift appears to promote a deep reorganization of the whole structure, as if releasing the symptomatic genesis itself. It's a lot to say, I know, but I don't find another explanation for these results. I don't know. I believe that when a person integrates the deep positive learning from the experience, its consequences are no longer symptomatic. They become healthy and enriching. So let's see. Okay. Mrs. A, is a 34-year-old woman consulting for water phobia. She was unable to drink water or have a shower. So the underlying organization was tracked in the emotional fluctuations of her bipolar father, which she perceived as a sick wake she was unable to fight against. So the restructuration was she embraced her young self, take her away to observe the chaos from a safe distance. This is a really normal coming out. It's like, I believe that it is like our internal child need to be taken out from situations they couldn't handle. I mean, many times I see this resolution. So the little girl is finally able to play happily. That was all. Discharged. That same night, she took a shower and enrolled in swimming lessons that very week. Most of the cases have this like impacting resolutions. I mean, changes are clear. Okay, so let's see Mrs. B. I don't have her there, but doesn't matter. A 23-year-old woman consulting for depression and a persistent feeling of being alone in the world. The underlying organization, while in expanded state of consciousness, she experienced the loss of a twin brother during pregnancy, who gave her the strength of his own life so she could live, as there was no chance for both to survive. She didn't want to accept the offering, so she was struggling with no willing to live. But she showed me her arms, and it was impressive because she had like a bodybuilder muscles when she was working at an office. So in that moment, she realized why she had that body. She never understood it before. And when she finally accepted the offering, something changed in her. But as a rational person, she needed to confirm the information. I understand her. I'm very rational too. So she demanded to trace the name that was planned to be given to the boy, and it was Diego, very normal name in my country. So the discharge was only when she confirmed the information with her parents that weekend. So they said, yes, we were meant to have another baby and he was going to be named Diego. So they all cried together, and then her anguish completely released. Mrs. C, I have this one. Good. Mrs. C is a 54-year-old woman consulting for depression, feeling no sense of moving forward in life. So, underlying organization, she experienced herself as floating in the darkness, still, alone, and without sense. She was repeating, there's nothing to do, there's nothing to do. So, restructuration. She finds a light behind her and a rope coming out of her back. Many times where there are no, what it looks like there's nothing to do, we demand the patient, well, look around. What is there that you didn't see? So when she was like looking around, she, there's a light here. And what else is there? Look at the light. So she found this rope and she followed the rope and she finally finds others like her. And she feels a deep happiness that fills her whole body. And she says, the world is the same, but I am not. People were there, but I wasn't able to see them like this. It's like a perceptual change again. So discharge. Since then, she feels plenty and willing to collaborate with others, resuming her professional life from a new perspective. So I came all the way here to show that perceptual capacities can be trained safely and reproducibly through a method that may allow a more complete understanding of our clinical work. From dynamic integration and perspective, perceptual expansion is only a step towards our therapeutic goal, which is reorganization. Over the years, we have seen that when this occurs, symptoms often change across emotional, physical, and relational dimensions. On this point, I've learned that when we become aware of the interconnected reality we all form part of, violence seems to lose its internal logic. Coherence then is not moral obedience, but a perceptual consequence. And collaboration emerges more naturally. And the intersection, where the good of the one aligns with the major good, becomes clearer. I believe this is what dynamic integration really has to offer. So thank you all very much.
Very happy to have your presentation with consciousness. It's very important.
Thank you.
And we'll be glad to have you in one of our next conferences as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.